Great. The March 2nd meeting of the Committee on Audit will now come to order. This meeting is being held in room 203-R, and per section 1.01, parenthesis D of the Milwaukee County Code of General Ordinances, it is also being conducted remotely via Microsoft Teams. This meeting is being live streamed on the County Legislative Information Center CLIC, the link for which is at the top of the agenda. To members of the committee appearing virtually, please keep your camera on at all times to ensure a quorum, and keep your microphones muted until I call on you. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand. To members of the public and departmental representatives that are appearing virtually today, please keep your cameras turned off and your microphones muted until I call upon you. When I call on you, you can turn your camera on and unmute your microphone. When members of the public are done speaking, you can depart from the Teams meeting and follow the remainder of today's meeting on CLIC. And with that, thank you very much for everyone who's in attendance. And Mr. Clerk, if you'll call the roll, please.
Supervisors Martin.
Present.
Alexander.
Present.
Rolland.
Here.
Vincent.
Excused.
Capriolo.
Here.
Mr. Chairman.
Present.
There are 5 members present, 4 appearing virtually. We have a quorum.
Wonderful. Mr. Clerk, will you please read item 1 into the agenda, or into the record?
Item 1, from the Director of Audit's Office of the Comptroller, Audit Services Division, an informational report titled 2025 Annual Report, Fraud, Waste, and Abuse Investigations. This item is informational only unless otherwise directed by the committee.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and committee members. Jennifer Folliard, Comptroller's Director of Audits. Every year we issue a report summarizing fraud hotline activity. Before you today is the 2025 report as we embark on our 33rd year of running the hotline. When I was before you last year reporting on the 2024 hotline report, I let you know that we were saying goodbye to a longtime audit forensic manager, Matt Hart, who took a job with the Milwaukee Public Schools. At that time, I also introduced Iris Bankhead, who joins me today. At the time, she was stepping up into the interim audit forensics manager role, and I'm pleased to report that after a recruitment effort to permanently fill the position, Iris was the top candidate and has been serving in this role officially since late this summer. It's definitely been a year of transition for us as those roles transitioned, but Iris came to us with a lot of experience and she is jumping right in. So I'll start by just talking about some of the statistics we routinely highlight and include in the report from the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. It's under the background section of our report. Tips are the most common fraud detection method, and they account for 43% of initial fraud detection, which is nearly 3 times greater than the next detection method. Tips from employees account for 52% of reported fraud. Organizations like Milwaukee County that operate hotlines are more likely to catch fraud by a tip, detect fraud quicker, and experience smaller fraud than an organization without a hotline. In addition to the telephone hotline, fraud complaints can be made using a dedicated email address and a website-based online reporting form. Industry trends show that telephone-based tips have declined and the use of email or an online form to make a report have increased. That's not necessarily the case here at Milwaukee County, though. So in sum, there's really no way to position an organization so that you'll be 100% guaranteed to never have fraud, waste, or abuse. Fraudsters can be creative and pivot as new opportunities arise. They can be internal or external to an organization, but having strong controls and the hotline helps put Milwaukee County in a favorable position to detect and fight fraud and to keep learning and developing new tactics and controls to close any gaps. As you can see in Figure 1 on page 2 of our report, we received 172 complaints or tips in 2025. This is generally in line with previous years. Our tips were slightly down in 23, and then you may recall this, I think this is our last year reporting on this, but 2021 was a bit of an outlier. That year we had 283 tips, 165 of which were related to counterfeit county checks. The county remains vigilant as the check issue is still an issue out there, but steps taken by management and the forensic manager helped to stabilize the situation in 2022, and that has continued for the last few years. There are a number of ways individuals can reach us, again, through the physical hotline, via the web form, or via email, or even in person with a member of our team. The majority of our contacts in 2025 came through the physical phone, followed by online form and our website. With the transition in the county to the Teams phone, we did have a slight outage the last few weeks with the hotline, but we are back up and running. So we did send reminders to county staff and put an ad in the WhatsApp that you can reach us if that ever happens again via our web form or via email. But I just wanted to let you all know that we are back up and running. So anyway, we'll be there. As with prior years, many of the tips received in 25 were related to non-county issues. If we catch a live caller for a non-county issue, we try to redirect them to a more appropriate reporting department. These are sometimes items that we're able to refer as well. The nature of alleged improprieties presented to our Division for Investigation are often complex and continue to involve interagency cooperation with numerous government entities. As with prior years, in 2025, we worked cooperatively with county departments and offices, the DA's office, the sheriff's office, and other law enforcement agencies to combat fraud, waste, and abuse in county government. The fraud hotline was created by resolution adopted by this body, and we thank you for supporting us to do this very important work. At this time, Iris and I are here and happy to take any questions you might have.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Iris, on the permanent position. Any questions from the committee? I see Supervisor Vincent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Director Folliard. If I could please be marked in attendance.
So ordered. Supervisor Capriolo?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two questions. The one on the fraudulent checks that we keep seeing, not as a great quantity as in 2021, but what's the follow-up on those? Are people who are writing these checks, are they caught? Are they charged? How does that go? And then my second question is, 64% of these tips are for non-county things. So can you give us some examples about what that is?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. So we talk a little bit in the report that the county has a positive pay. So going back, for all the check activity this year, no loss to the county at all because of that. And going back for quite some time. Prior to that, there were some that were able to be located, investigated, and prosecuted, a handful of those. Not much you can do investigative-wise when you don't have a loss. I will say that's something we learned this year when we were working with the Sheriff's Office to get more information. But I will say a lot of this activity is most likely not local and most likely not even in the U.S. So no loss for us here.
Okay. And what about the 64% that's non-county tips? What are some examples of those?
Thank you. It's typically, government related. It's just not Milwaukee County government. So, it could be an issue with something that's happening over at the city. A lot of times we don't have very many, county employees don't handle very many sort of like human services type programs anymore. Those were turned over to the state to run, like the food share or healthcare eligibility and that sort of thing. So those will come to us at times, and then we redirect them if we can to the appropriate number where they can call at, at state DHS or the city. Something like that. And if we get a lot of information, sometimes we can refer it as well. And sometimes it's just also people that have problems with fraud in their personal life that just need have no idea what to do and maybe, call your bank or file a police report type thing.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions from members of the committee? Just a quick question from me. Is there a way to express the record of this fraud and abuse reporting program in dollars? Like, can we talk about what we've saved the county, what we've uncovered, or anything like that? That's a bit of a great
We had a stat like that in our prior reports, and we took it out. It's really, there's not an easy way to do it. There's kind of an industry standard by the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners that has it in there, where you take every dollar amount that you can, that you can document, and then you multiply it by, a multiplier that's industry standard, and you can estimate what it must be for this. We took it out because we just didn't feel like that it was as much of a real number, but we'd be happy to put that in future reports and just sort of acknowledge that the challenges with it. There are certain cases where you just know, right, where something ends up going and the county does get money back, but there's many others where it's more difficult to calculate,
Okay, thanks. Just curious. I figured there was a specific answer to it, so thank you. I do see Supervisor Vincent with a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry. I'm actually just wondering, Director Folliard, is this an annual report, or is it possible that we could get it like twice a year? Is this something, I don't know how that gets requested for the cycle.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisors, it is an annual report, and it's stated as such in our ordinances. So we'll come to you annually with this. And I will say, while I have everybody here, just a reminder, I know we're not doing newsletters right now, but when that resumes, make sure that please include the fraud hotline in any communication that you have to your constituents, because citizens do see things as well, and we want them to know that they can reach out to us too.
And I imagine we can include that on our homepage
Yes.
as well on the county.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have magnets. We do have some magnets that we can get out to people if you're interested as well.
I have one of those magnets.
Good.
All right. Supervisor
Mr.
Vincent, did you
Chairman?
have Supervisor Martin?
If Vincent is done.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Supervisor and Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Director Folliard.
Vice Chair Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Folliard mentioned hotline magnets. If we could get some of those distributed, I would love to have those in my office. It goes great for passing out when I'm doing tabling at our community parks and other activities after the election cycle.
Fantastic. Mr. Chairman, I do have a stack with me here, so I will walk them on over and have them left in your mailbox. And if you need more, just please reach out and we will get them to you.
Great.
How many do you have? I might want some too.
I would like some too.
Okay, we can make that happen. We will do a drop this week and make sure everyone has them. Thank you.
Bless you. Thank you.
Sounds great. All right, that was information only. So if there are no other questions from the committee, we will move on to item number 2. Mr. Clerk.
Item 2, from the Director of Audit's Office of the Comptroller Audit Services Division, an informational report on the status of recommendations contained in the Cash Handling Manual Audit Report. This item is informational only unless otherwise directed by the committee.
Okay, Mr. Chairman and Supervisors, Jennifer Folliard, Comptroller's Director of Audits. I'm before you today with our first follow-up report on the Cash Handling Manual Audit we released in August of 2025. Our audit focused on determining if cash handling county departments had current written cash handling policies and procedures that align with best practices. In doing our work, we focused on 9 areas that regularly handle customer transactions. We found that no area had a complete set of documents that fulfilled the Government Finance Officers Association GFOA recommended elements, so every department did have documents that incorporated some of the elements. On the positive side, all employees handling cash did have background checks and all received cashier training as recommended by GFOA. During our field work, we noticed that the last time the county's overall cash handling policy had been updated was 2000. We found that each department in our sample used a standalone third-party vendor to process payments. There were some issues with the agreements, and also generally, efficiencies can likely be gained by consolidating systems when possible. We made 5 recommendations to help fully implement best practices in this area, and as you can see in the attached report and status update grid, 3 of the 5 recommendations have been closed and 2 remain open. The Comptroller's Office issued an updated cash handling AMOP, which included the elements we recommended in our report, which closed out recommendations 1, 2, and 4. Recommendation 3 related to specific updates needed in our sample departments. With the exception of the Treasurer's Office, all departments updated their written cash handling procedures. The Treasurer's Office anticipates completion of their P&Ps by our next status report submission. Efforts have begun to implement Recommendation 5 related to an evaluation of third-party vendor payment contract efficiencies, and as reported by the Comptroller's Office, are likely to continue through 2026. So this is a great start, and I'm pleased with the efforts made to implement our audit recommendations. We plan on returning with our next status report on this audit in the September meeting cycle.
Thank you very much, Director Folliard. Any questions from the committee? I guess I would just be really curious, did this initial audit originate with the cash handling at the parks, or was this completely separate?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, it was sort of similar. We have done a lot of cash handling, kind of cash counts periodically over at the parks. We hadn't done them anywhere else. So I think this did sort of come from that to understand, at least as a starting point, what other departments were handling cash and whether or not they were taking reasonable efforts to make sure they're following, best practices and that they had written policies and procedures. Parks remains kind of a different animal given how many sites they have and how they're at such disparate locations. They have something like 72 POSs. So they have different risks than some of these departments that may have 1 or 2 cash handling stations with a smaller employee group and just on one site where management is right there as well. But I think it was good to see, and I think there were some meaningful updates and probably just formalizing some procedures to put us in better shape going forward.
Thanks so much. If there aren't any questions from the committee, that's information only. So we will move on to our only action item, which is item number 3. Thanks so much, Director Folliard.
Item 3, a resolution by Supervisors Vincent, Ekblad, Rolland, Taylor District 17, Shea, and Logsdon, requesting the Comptroller's Audit Services Division to audit recent benefits contracts negotiated by the Milwaukee County Department of Human Resources, Total Rewards Division, to assess the contracting process and ensure compliance with county requirements and timelines.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Supervisor Vincent, would you care to speak to your resolution? You're muted.
That would help if I unmute. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I want to just begin by saying I've had a conversation with the comptroller in light of our recent situation with the United Healthcare contract lapsing. And today I'm actually calling for an audit of the Department of Human Resources Total Rewards Division recent benefits contracts. This resolution is not about assigning blame to anyone, but it is about accountability, transparency, and protecting the Milwaukee County. Employee and retiree benefits, especially healthcare, are among the most critical obligations that we carry as a county. These contracts represent significant taxpayer dollars and directly impact the well-being of our workforce and their families. As outlined in this resolution, Resolution 26299, contracts with United Healthcare and Optum RX expired on December 31st, 2025, before amended agreements were approved, resulting in a period of financial risk to Milwaukee County. Additionally, both the Office of the Comptroller and the Office of Corporation Counsel raised concerns regarding the negotiation of contract amendments, including the omission of the county's preferred audit language. We also learned that the RFP process did not comply with county ordinance requirements and that oversight processes for certain critical contracts may be limited. These are serious governance concerns that warrant independent review. An audit by the Comptroller's Audit Services Division will provide an objective assessment of the contracting process, evaluate compliance with county requirements and timelines, and identify improvements to strengthen oversight and reduce future risk. As members of this board, our responsibility is to ensure transparency, fiscal stewardship, and adherence to our ordinances. Requesting this audit is a prudent and responsible step in fulfilling that duty. For these reasons, I respectfully ask for your support of my resolution, and at this time, I move approval of Resolution 26299. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Vincent. I think I see Vice Chair Martin. My apologies.
No, you can overlook that and go on to Capriola, I believe it is. Thank you, sir.
No worries. Supervisor Capriolo.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chair. Couple questions again on this one. One, is it prudent for us to take a much broader look at all county contracts in some form, or is that overkill? And the other question I have is, does it make the most sense to have our internal audit do this, since they are housed within our comptroller's office? So those are just two items of discussion I would like to hear about.
So the two questions are, one, is it possible to take a broader view? And two, does it have to be outsourced or can we do it in-house? Is that correct, Supervisor?
In a nutshell, yes. Yeah, it does. Is it prudent for us to take a broader view, or should we be nice and concise in this because of the recent issue that we had? And two, does it make sense for our own audit department to do this, since they sit within our comptroller's office and the comptroller's office is in charge of contracts? I'm curious. I don't know that it should be outside, but I would love to hear from Director Folliard on both of those, what her opinion is on both of those.
Okay. Mr. Chairman and Supervisor, thanks for the question. I'll start with the first question on scope. I will just say that in terms of the narrower the scope you have on an audit request, I think the easier it is for us to get it done timely and to make sure that we're finding what you want us to find. I think if you stretch, the county, in terms of number of contracts that they have, I don't know, when we did the parks contract audit at that time, several years ago, it was 300 just in parks. So we're talking at least hundreds of contracts, maybe much more. And so we'd have to do a sample basis. And I just think the narrower you can have it, I think the better results that you're going to get. In terms of the second question, we do report to the comptroller. That was a state law change that occurred in 2012 or late 2011. And so we have since then operated in kind of a unique fashion where we have a memorandum of understanding that defines the relationship between the Director of Audits and the Audit Department and the Comptroller so that we can be independent. And we have had, you may have even noticed in the last file that was before you, we have made recommendations for things for the Comptroller's office to implement. So I think we have proven, while it's not maybe an ideal setup to have audit report to the CFO, it is the way that the state legislature has decided that it's going to be. We have been through numerous peer reviews that have accepted and approved that we are independent. We're facing another one next week, and I imagine that we'll say the same thing. So I don't have independence concerns myself, but certainly it's the will of the body to decide how you want to go.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, am I able to respond?
I believe Vice Chair Martin, her hand is still up.
Okay, it was to the question. That's why I thought it was directed. I didn't know if it was directed to me as well.
I believe it was directed to Director Folliard, but we will absolutely come back to you, Supervisor Vincent. I just want to give deference to the Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In response to our colleague from the District 15 in regards to this request about auditing, we need to take into account the procurement and contracting process and the supervisor's role in that entire process, which is we don't have one. And as far as requesting an audit, yes, we can do that. However, my preference would be, because it would be more prudent and equitable, to request a third-party auditor to do the audit. As previously stated, the audit department resides under the comptroller's office, yet they are kind of fairly independent, and they have done a very good job. But with all things that have been revealed with this contracting with the UHC, I think in the spirit of transparency, we would want to do a third-party auditor for this particular instance. Thank you, and I yield back.
Just a quick point of clarification, Vice Chair. Are you offering an amendment or just a statement? I just want to be clear.
I am making a statement.
Okay.
Those are things that we as supervisors must always consider. What is our actual role? As far as state statutes are concerned, who's reporting to whom? Yes, we always have to be ready to go in and save the day, but we also want to make certain that we are adhering to those guidelines that have been stipulated by a state legislature and what our roles are and when do we actually come in and do our thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Supervisor Vincent, thanks for your patience.
No problem, and thank you. And thank you to my previous colleagues for speaking. And so I have some thoughts on this. And Supervisor Martin, I tend to agree with you that, we should have that broader look. This will not incur any cost to the county to have internal. I do trust our internal mechanisms. We found ourselves in this similar spot when we had the mental health board audit request go through a couple months ago, but it got tabled for similar reasons because people didn't want to have an internal, or they didn't, I don't remember how it went, but long story short is that, there does need to be an audit. And talking to the comptroller, this was a serious oversight, and my concern is in this division in particular, what other contracts could potentially be compromised at this point. And I think, so the broader stroke of doing all contracts for the county, I totally agree with Director Folliard. I don't think we're in a position to do that at this point, but in this area where there was such an oversight and a lapse in judgment or performance or whatever you want to call it, I definitely think it should be. My focus would be to kind of get on it now with our county assets and just move forward forward with it so that we can make sure there are no other missteps along the way. Our largest contract ultimately being the United Healthcare contract or the health benefits contract. That was pretty serious. So I wanted to just touch on that a little bit, and then going back to Supervisor Capriolo, and maybe she can restate it. There were two things you said. One was about possibility of internal or external, and then what was the other thing you said? If I can ask you to just remind me what the other thing was you said.
Just wondering if we should be taking a broader look, if that makes sense at this time. So I think you covered that.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, the idea here is that we as supervisors, as much as Supervisor Martin said, we have certain control over certain things. We did not have control over that contract coming to us with days' notice. And then we were basically in a position that we were being told 6,000 people may have their insurance compromised if we don't make a quick decision. Still found it very frustrating. And I don't want to find ourselves in another situation like this. I just, feel as a county supervisor, it put us in a really bad light as a county. And as supervisors, we ultimately had that vote, which I did actually vote against at the time, mostly out of principle because of how it was presented to us. But with these other contracts that the Total Rewards division has, I think it's really important for us to look at. And I don't know if Director Follier can answer this question, how many contracts that actually might be in that division. I have not had a chance to reach out to HR Director Margot Franklin about it, but do you have any understanding of how many contracts we're looking at?
Mr. Chairman and Supervisor, I do not. No, we have not begun work, so I don't know.
Okay.
We do also
That would go ahead.
Oh, no, Supervisor Vincent, finish your thought. I was going to kick it over to Office of Corporation Counsel.
No, that I think I'm good for right now. And, I'm glad that so many supervisors have reached out and also considered co-signing on this. I think as a collective, we need to send a strong message that we are paying attention to these things and cannot have another oversight like this.
Thank you, Supervisor. Office of Corporation Counsel, Director Scott Brown.
Good afternoon, Scott Brown, Corporation Counsel. Mr. Chairman, Supervisors, I have information pertinent to this item that would be more appropriately addressed in closed session. If it is the will of this body, I would ask to go into closed session and I can provide you further information.
Vice Chair Martin.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would like to move that we go into closed session as the committee may adjourn into closed session under provisions of Section 19.851G Wisconsin State Statute for the purpose of the committee receiving oral or written advice from legal counsel concerning strategies to be adopted with respect to pending or possible litigation with regards to the following matters. And at the conclusion of the closed session, we'll reconvene to an open session to take whatever action, if necessary, deemed.
We have a motion to go into closed session. Can we call the roll?
On the motion by Supervisor Martin that the committee adjourn into closed session, Supervisors Martin,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Rolland,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Capriolo,
Aye.
Mr. Chairman.
Aye.
6 ayes, 0 noes, the motion prevails. And then, Mr. Chairman, I will need a few minutes to secure the room.
Give us a few moments and we'll see everyone in the closed session Teams meeting, correct?
Just to confirm, we'll close out on this one and then hop on to the closed session link.
That's correct, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
test.
I can hear you.
Perfect. Do we have a motion to move into open session?
Mr. Chairman, Supervisor Martin here. I move that we reconvene in open session.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
On the motion by Supervisor Martin that the committee reconvene in open session, Supervisors Martin,
Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Rolland,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Capriolo,
Aye.
Mr. Chairman.
Aye. And as
6
a,
ayes, 0 noes, the motion prevails. And then I will need to take an attendance vote to reestablish quorum before we can continue.
okay.
For attendance, Supervisors Martin,
Present.
Alexander,
Present.
Rolland,
Here.
Vincent,
Present.
Capriolo,
Here.
Mr. Chairman.
Here.
There are 6 members present, 5 appearing virtually. We have a quorum.
And just a quick point of clarification, Mr. Clerk, I believe we had a motion from Supervisor Vincent on adoption, and so that's the motion before us.
Mr. Chairman, the motion before you by Supervisor Vincent is to recommend for adoption.
Thank you. Any discussion on the recommendation for adoption? Supervisor Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Normally, I fancy myself as a parliamentarian, but my rules are escaping me today. Would a motion for layover on this item take precedence?
Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Chairman, yes, a motion to lay over either for one meeting to the call of the chairperson would take precedence over the recommendation for adoption.
Thank you for confirming, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion for layover to the call of the chair.
The motion is for layover to the call of the chair. Any discussion? All right, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
On the motion by Supervisor Alexander that item number 3 be laid over to the call of the chairperson, Supervisors Martin,
Supervisor Martin, you're muted.
Aye. Sorry. Aye.
Alexander,
Aye.
Rolland,
No.
Vincent,
No.
Capriolo,
Aye.
Mr. Chairman.
No.
No, 3 ayes, 3 noes. The item is still before you.
So then we revert to the motion to adopt.
Correct, Mr. Chairman. That motion is still on the floor.
Is there any discussion on the motion to adopt? Going once, going twice. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
On the motion by Supervisor Vincent that item number 3 be recommended for adoption, Supervisors Martin,
Aye.
Alexander,
No.
Rolland,
Aye.
Vincent,
Aye.
Capriolo,
No.
Mr. Chairman.
Aye.
Aye, 4 ayes, 2 noes. The motion prevails.
Thank you very much, everyone. If we can read the next item into the record, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Madam Vice Chair.
have I don't know what I have. Is it a point of order or point of clarity? Is it possible that we still can put a resolution through for the work group to look at the workflows? Our vote just did not close that out because that wasn't even for consideration, correct?
That's a question for the clerk's office, I believe. I don't believe we've closed out any other options. We've simply adopted the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, the item before you was for the audit from Audit Services Division. That is the recommendation that you just voted on. If it is the will of the body for some other resolution about any potential future work group or anything else, that would need to be a separate item. It was not noticed on this agenda and therefore cannot be acted on at this time.
Thank you.
Supervisor Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Point of personal privilege just before we move on to the next item. I just wanted to mention for the record, in case we have other supervisors or members of the public that are watching today, that it is my intention to attempt to work with other members of this committee to put together a resolution for an upcoming board day. It does not necessarily have to compete or be a replacement or substitute for that which was just passed. But my analysis of our situation, some discomfort and discontent with
Point of order.
Supervisor Vincent, I believe Supervisor Alexander was still speaking.
I know it's a point of order, though. This discussion, we've taken the vote already. This is not a posted discussion, Mr. Chairman.
I believe Supervisor Alexander was taking a point of privilege. I'm sure she'll be timely with it.
Thank you. I apologize. The point of order caused me to lose my train of thought there. That seems to be happening in our meetings quite regularly now. It's my intention to bring something that is directly related to the issues that we've experienced that would allow us, whether we do an audit or not, to pursue investigating our systems, because we cannot simply look at people and individual situations or individual roles. We need to analyze the systems that have failed the people and the taxpayers of Milwaukee County, and I think there are better ways to do it than potentially spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to investigate when defining scope is very difficult to do in these predicaments. So I just wanted that on the record so that those that may watch this recording and come to our board meeting down the road will have that heads up that the members of this group have heard that and that is the intent. Thank you.
And with that, Mr. Clerk, will you please read the next item into the record?
Item 4, e-comments submitted to the Committee on Audit via the County Legislative Information Center click.
Madam Vice Chair, do we have any e-comments, or do we have any e-comments, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Madam Vice Chair.
I still do not have access.
Okay, fair. Mr. Clerk, did you see any?
It's just not working. It's my device, so we'll have to do some repair work. Thank you for your patience.
Mr. Chairman, if any have been submitted, they will be appended to the record. I have not seen any at this time, but they could have come in, so I will make sure they're appended.
All right, and with that, this committee will adjourn until after the spring elections on April 7th, and I encourage everyone to vote. Thank you very much for everyone's time and attention today.